Friends and family, greetings, how are you? I hope that all is well with you, and I hope that all is well with your families. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another video. All right, guys, in today's video, it's going to be very different from all of the videos that I've ever done on my channel. Okay, so this is going to be one of those informational type videos that is specifically driven for public safety. All right. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to read an excerpt from the web, something that I found, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump into some theoretical situations regarding people with spinal cord stimulators and how could this piece of legislation, if it becomes law, be helpful to protect those who have hidden vulnerabilities, you know. Okay, so Alabama legislators have pre-filed bills for the 2026 session that will allow people with certain invisible medical conditions to voluntarily add a discrete symbol to their driver's license in their state IDs. Okay, so these two bills are centered around this. House Bill 66, the invisible medical conditions. Okay, be sure to Google that. All right, because I don't want to call no names. All right, but the bill would require Alabama law enforcement agency, better known as ALEA, to create a way for individuals to voluntarily designate that they have certain medical conditions on their driver's license or their ID. And the bill is defined as the invisible medical conditions bill. Okay, it's not law, but it's a pre-filed bill. Okay, as a physical or mental condition that may not be immediately apparent but could affect communication or an interaction with law enforcement. All right. House Bill 68, autism and communication disorders. So that bill that I just said earlier, it ties into this too, which is another pre-filed bill that would allow people diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder or any other communication disorders that add voluntary designations on their driver's license and or ID. And both bills amend the same section of Alabama law, section 32-6-6, and it focuses on improving interactions between law enforcement and individuals who may have communication challenges. All right. Okay, so how do that come into play with people with spinal cord stimulators? All right. A spinal cord stimulator is a high-risk medical device, guys. All right. Three-part system. It consists of the pulse generator, as leads, splitters, and adapters. And those leads that I mentioned, they are implanted directly on a spinal cord of the patient. Okay. And what makes this system so high risk is the fact that it is sensitive to its environments, and it could be interfered with in ways that could either damage the unit and or cause uncomfortable stimulation for the patient, if not worse. All right. So how does that bill, House Bill 66, tie into people who have a medical condition like having a spinal cord stimulator implanted in their body? All right, so for those of you who have taken the time to read the health and safety sheet of your device and become familiar with all of the warnings and contradictions from the manufacturers of your spinal cord stimulator, it highlights a lot of things on there that would basically tell you what you should do to make sure that you are safe and healthy. All right, and then they give you an implant medical ID card that you are to hand to places in security settings or something like that, so you don't have to go through machinery that contains or emits EMI again, which could interfere with your treatment. Okay, so in my opinion, I commend the lawmakers for coming up with this bill. Okay, and I really do hope that people who have spinal cord stimulators are included as a qualifying medical condition. And the reason why I say that is the nature of the device. It is sensitive. It is high risk. Okay. We have the remote control to turn on our things. Okay. Usually we would keep it in our pocket, or some ladies, they like to carry it in their purse. Me personally, I still have my hip clip that I put my device in, and I carry it on my hip. Okay. The reason why I do that is because I don't want to inadvertently hitting the buttons and impair my device or turn my therapy off inadvertently. So I keep it in that hip clip. But now, one thing I could say about having that hip clip, if that hip clip is covered, it will give the perception that you may have a weapon, okay? And that is not the case. So that's why I always take mine and I tuck my shirt into my pants behind it so it is exposed at all times for my safety, all right? So let's get into a theoretical situation, okay? Now, I back the blue, okay? And the reason why I back the blue is because they keep our communities safe, okay? And they have a really hard job to do while they are out here. They've seen it all. They've heard it all. You know, they've been through it all, you know, and there are some things that they have seen and have to contend with, you know, and I take my hat off to them and I thank them so much for their valuable service. But God forbid if I were to find myself in a situation to where I have to follow commands, okay? I want to be as compliant as possible for my safety as well as the safety of the officer, okay? Now, there are certain things that they are trained to do. There are certain boxes that they have to check off in the process of issuing these commands that they have to do. So that is the reason why they are adamant that you follow their commands, and I highly encourage you to do so. But with the person in my condition, okay, I have this high-risk medical device implanted in my body. The generator has lithium ion in it, okay? I have whole body impairment in my back. I have not been able to bend over and touch my toes since 2018. God forbid that I am ordered or commanded to get on the ground, okay? You know, they're not gonna allow you to have things in your hand for their safety, and that is understandable. But, you know, with the person in my condition, I have a hard time with my mobility sometimes, especially with my balance, you know. And the last thing I want to do is give off the perception that I am under the influence or that I'm drunk or something. And that's just not the case because my body, okay, can only take so much, all right? Another thing, let's say if they were to try to detain me, the handcuffs, you know, me personally, I would request that the handcuffs be placed in the front of me, you know. Reason why is because if I were to put the handcuffs behind me, it would put me in a distressing situation to where my therapy can inadvertently go up and could be uncomfortable. And as a natural reflex, you know, your body is going to respond to these reflexes in a manner to where it's kind of protect itself. But to the person that is trying to do the job, it may seem like you are resisting, which could, you know, turn out bad. And we don't want that, okay? Another thing with having the handcuffs around your back, you know, like I say, you have your generator. It's going to be implanted in your waistline, all right? And let's say these handcuffs is constantly bumping against their generator. Our generator sites are very sensitive, okay? And it could either rupture the skin around it, God forbid, or it could put some dings in it, God forbid, or it could damage the adapters or splitters, God forbid. But, you know, one thing that usually get overlooked even more is the risk of having someone, especially during an arrest or restraint, put their knees into your back or around your waist area. In my case, my generator is located in my waist area, and I have my splitters going up my back, you know. So direct pressure in those areas could damage the device, cause severe pain, increase in therapy, potentially even rupture the implant battery, causing lithium ion to leak, rupture a splitter, or just a full-blown medical emergency. And these things are something that can be avoided and definitely could be prevented. With this House bill in place and with the special indicator on the driver's license or ID, it will make it explicitly known what is going on with this person, in my case with me, before they come knock on my window, okay? Again, it's all about public safety. I'm not looking for a free pass or a pass or anything, but, you know, I just want transparency all the way around the board, because, you know, again, they want to know who they are dealing with, and it is important that they know who they are dealing with. But, you know, with people who have sensitive medical needs, they have to be able to identify these type needs to know what they should and shouldn't do. Okay, like I said about the handcuffing, you know, or if you make a sudden movement, it could be misinterpreted, or if I'm commanded to get on the ground, and if I can't bend over and touch my toes, it's going to be hard for me to do so. And again, I don't want to send a signal of non-compliance. Okay, so I just really take my hat off to the lawmakers, and I really hope that this bill becomes law, you know. And when it does become law, I've read in a different article that, you know, similar states are drafting similar pieces of legislation, and that is good. Okay. Here in Alabama, we also have this Noah Act, and it is an act for people who have hidden vulnerabilities. Yes, I have a physical disability. Yes, it is obviously visible when you see me move, but the internals is what makes me vulnerable to being mishandled and or injured with irreversible damage. You know, we don't want that. But with that House bill, it would definitely reduce all that, so law enforcement can do their job effectively, and you be cleared and you go. You know, me, I don't have nothing to fear because I'm not doing anything wrong. But I know that if I am ever encountered or accosted, I know what I need to do. But if this system is in place, then it protects not only me, but it protects the officer as well, because no one wants to be on a line for using force on someone in a condition like mine. And they didn't know it, but this bill will help them know it. Okay, if you catch my drift. So guys, I believe I've said enough. Hopefully I've turned on some lights. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop those down in the comment box down below, and I'll get back with you. If you are new to the channel and seeing me for the first time, feel free to mash this subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you don't miss when I release another video. Also, if you haven't already, go over to my playlist tab. I have a series of playlists that relates to my spinal cord stimulator, so feel free to check those out, you know. And I do thank all those who stayed until the end. And until we meet again, please stay safe, hold it in the road, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, peace.